Greetings, my Spelman sisters and community. I am Allison Shumpert Dorsey, Senior Alumni Programs Manager in the Office of Alumni Engagement and Class of 2002. The Office of Alumni Engagement and the entire campus want to thank you for all of the events that you participated in during our historic, undaunted Homecoming at Home. While we typically are able to gather on campus, we hope that one of the events that you attended or participated in resonated with you enough for you to feel like you had at least one toe in 350 Spelman Lane. Tonight, we will celebrate the culmination of our homecoming experience with a special Vespers service or evening service, which some of you may have participated in as students, or it may have been quiet hour, or some of you might remember convocations. In this evening, we will hear the melodic sounds of the pipe organ played by our very own treasure, Dr. Joyce Finch Johnson, reflections from our alumni sisters, and a couple of surprises that I know you will enjoy and help you center for the week ahead. So thank you for joining us for Homecoming, and we look forward to the day that we all get to step foot on campus again. Take care. Good night.
Dear President Campbell, dear Spelman sisters, and dear Spelman family, during these days of anxiety, of clamorous chaos, it is commendable that the Office of Alumni Engagement chose to include in our homecoming activities this gathering to celebrate an important tradition associated with Sisters Chapel here at Spelman, the Sunday afternoon Vespers. As you have previously heard, for a number of years, we had a chapel service 5 days a week at 8 o'clock in the morning and a Sunday Vespers service, both of which were mandatory for all campus students. Exactly when the morning chapel services were discontinued, I don't remember. The Vespers remained, and students were required to attend. Faculty and staff members and community folk looked forward to coming to Sisters Chapel to hear beautiful music and profound sermons by distinguished speakers, many of whom were outstanding local, national, or international ministers. In the early days, I understand that the guest ministers were mostly white from various local denominations. This is understandable when we realize that many of the Spelman faculty at that time were also white. When I first came to Spelman, there was here a white college minister, Reverend McAfee. However, after Reverend Dr. Norman Rates became the college minister, increasingly many of the speakers were distinguished African American ministers and educators, such as Dr. Benjamin Mays, Reverend William Holmes Borders, Reverend Martin Luther King Sr., Dr. Howard Thurman, Dr. Mordecai Johnson, Dr. Samuel Proctor, just to mention a few. What was the music like? You know that the cultural history of Spelman College includes a rich tradition in music. I have often wondered if it was due to the musical interest and taste of one of our founders, Miss Harriet Giles, who herself had been a piano teacher prior to coming to serve Spelman College. It is reported that she sold her piano to raise funds for her transition from the North to Atlanta. So, what was the music like? There was always congregational hymn singing. We were a vibrant singing church. But there was always special choral music, anthems, or arranged spirituals sung by the AMS Chorus, a mixed choir composed of students from Atlanta University, Morehouse, and Spelman colleges, under the direction of Kemper Harold, the chair of both departments of music at Spelman and Morehouse colleges. Sometimes there was music performed by the Spelman Glee Club under the direction of Dr. Willis Lawrence James. The service always began with an organ prelude played by our beloved Mr. Harold, the college organist, until 1955. And there was always a congregational spiritual sung at the end of the service, often, "Guide my feet while I run this race." Lest I give the wrong impression, the Vesper service was not about entertainment. It was a formal, reverent service, very important to the college because religion was at the core of our founder's mission. Vespers was spiritually meaningful and intellectually enlightening. It served as a way of increasing the development of the students' intellect as well as their spiritual growth, and also a way of instilling in them moral and ethical principles. Two other interesting things I should mention about Vespers is that it was of social importance to the students. It was a means by which the male and female students who came to Vespers at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday could have extended interaction with each other, in that the men could remain on campus a little extra time after Vespers, I believe until about 5:30 in the afternoon, until the prescribed curfew, at which time they literally had to leave. Another interesting point about Vespers and all other services, programs, and so forth in Sisters Chapel is that there was a big bell in Packard Hall that was rung always to signal that something important was happening at the chapel. After a few years and the bell became impaired, we had a set of chimes in the chapel anteroom, which students played before activities. The chimes were microphoned to send bell-ringing signals across the campus. In these challenging days of anxiety and chaos, when it seems that so many things have become unhinged, thankfully, we at Spelman are staunchly clinging to our heritage and our legacies and our values as reflected in the remembrance of the Vespers services of old. And sisters, in the words of Apostle Paul to the Corinthians, stay alert, stand firm in your faith, be courageous, be strong, and I would add, continue to be loving, and as I say so often, stay in a mode of prayer, however you worship. Thank you for celebrating Vespers and for this opportunity to share my brief reflection.
Hello, my Spelman sisters. I am Kiva Wright-Berry, class of 1979, and president of the National Alumni Association of Spelman College. And I am so excited to be here with you at Homecoming at Home. This has been a great experience thus far, and I'm looking forward to the remaining activities. Today, I am here to share some remembrances about Vespers and Dr. Joyce Finch Johnson. Vespers didn't actually occur during my time at Spelman. However, we did have ample meditative opportunities involving Dr. Johnson via the Quiet Hour. Quiet Hour was on Friday evenings at 6 p.m. During this time, the community gathered in Sisters Chapel to hear about a half hour's worth of organ music. It was a wonderful way to end your week. The selections Dr. Johnson played ranged from reflective, such as Schmückerdiek o Liebe Seele, or Sleepers Awake, both by Johann Sebastian Bach, to quite rousing with the Carillon of Westminster by Louis Vierne, or one of my favorites, the Toccata from Suite Gothique by Leon Boelman. For those of you who didn't know, I was an organ major. And it was my honor to also be Dr. Johnson's page turner during these times. I stood by quietly, turning pages on her command, and was able to hear and absorb all of that wonderful music. I also have a memorable story to share that occurred during that time. As I mentioned, Quiet Hour was on Fridays at 6, and usually by then I had had a long day and a long week, so I often took a nap before it was time to meet Dr. Johnson. I lived in Morehouse, James, and one day while I was napping, I started hearing the sounds of the chapel chimes beckoning us to Quiet Hour. She usually started playing the chimes about 10 to 15 minutes before it was time, so as I was awakening from my nap, I suddenly realized that I was the page turner and I needed to get to the chapel immediately. So I got up, dressed, and ran to the chapel. And yes, I ran across the grass. When I arrived, Dr. Johnson, ever so gracious as always, greeted me simply, and then we scooted across to the organ. I'd love to say that this never happened again, but it did. Joyce Finch Johnson is the ever-constant presence at Spelman. Her organ playing, as we all know, is second to none. I'm certain that alumni who were able to participate in Vesper services benefited from those times and can remember them fondly. Thanks again for participating in Homecoming at Home. I hope you have enjoyed all of the activities. Stay well, stay safe, and hopefully next year we'll be able to do this in person. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brenda Cole, and I should say Brenda Sue Hill Cole, class of 1963. And I am reflecting on my days at Spelman and my time spent in Vespers, and really also daily chapel. I am a PK. My daddy was a principal and a preacher, and every time the church doors opened, we were there. So I was looking forward to continuing my spiritual life when I came to Spelman at age 16 from Gladewater, Texas. And this was my first long trip from home, not counting going to visit my grandparents, which really wasn't a long trip. But I was excited to be at Spelman. I was recruited by a teacher in a neighboring college, Jarvis Christian College, who was a Spelmanite. And she showed me the Spelman yearbook, and I was hooked. So when I got there, part of my background was also music. I took piano. My mother was a pianist and church pianist. And so I was just excited to join so many organizations, but including the Spelman Glee Club. So that was my first introduction to Dr. Joyce Finch Johnson, our extraordinary organist and pianist. But we are friends to this day. Just a beautiful person, a talented person. And I associate Vespers with beautiful music, beautiful hymns, and with Joyce Johnson. I loved the opportunity to just have a quiet time. It really wasn't all that quiet, but it was peaceful. And it was convenient. I didn't have to walk 3 or 4 or more blocks to attend church services on Sundays. We had Vespers. My recollections, it means so much to think of the friendships that I made there, friends that are my friends to this day. And so I have fond memories of time spent in thinking about how good God has been to me and to Spelman.
Greetings, my Spelman sisters. My name is Linda Hart Patton, class of '88, and I am your Associate Director in the Office of Alumni Engagement at our beloved alma mater. I have been blessed to have the opportunity to work remotely, and I must say, our team, division, and entire campus hasn't missed a beat. Of course, some of us are essential workers and return to campus every day. However, many of us, myself included, only return to campus a few days every month. On the days that I do return, it really does my heart good to be in that space, masked and keeping my distance diligently, of course. Although it's extremely quiet, it's a meditative, peaceful state that allows my mind to wander. I find myself staring down the well-polished hallway of Rockefeller Hall, truly appreciating the fine craftsmanship of the wooden floors, baseboards, and crown molding. The rounded doorway near the president's office makes me think of all the sisters before me that walked through the space. I took a stroll along the Oval, admiring the architecture of decades-old buildings and how the newer ones blend so well. I also think about the days when campus will be abuzz again with students, our little sisters, and other faculty and staff members. I miss the laughter. I miss the smiling glances. I miss hearing, "Hi, Miss Linda," as I rush to a meeting across campus. We will be together again, and what a sweet fellowship it will be. Please know that our dear campus, in our absence, is being cared for very well. And let's dwell on the time that we will embrace again, because we will. Now, I will ask you to sit back, settle in, and relax as you prepare yourselves for a brief session of sound healing with our sister, Linnea Smith Crawford, class of 2013.
take a moment to tune into your breath as you allow the feeling of calm to resonate through your entire body. Maybe placing a hand on your heart, maybe a hand on your belly. Together we affirm that we are enough, we are love, and we matter. Hands into heart center as we close our sound healing meditation together. Taking a deep breath in through the nose, holding it at the top, sipping in just a little bit more air. Open mouth, sigh it out. The light student and teacher in me sees, honors the light student and teacher in you. Namaste.
Black women, let us gather our love for each other and find a meeting place. The table, the kitchen, the porch, the worn couch in the living room, the flesh underneath our arms, the curls at the nape of our necks. Let us bring our own souls and hips to our own potluck, where I will bring my ability to find humor in just about everything, and you will bring your softness, your shyness, and you will bring your takes no nonsense attitude, and you will bring your singing voice that pierces through the air like the first morning light of the sun, and you will bring greetings and say a prayer of blessing, of lament, of grace, of love, and we will say their names. The names of the Black women and Black trans women who were taken away from us, we will hold their names close to our collarbones. Let their names rest in the silence of our breath, and we will never stop fighting for them. And then we will say our own names, speak our own names to each other, to the flowers as they remind us we still bloom, to our bellies as they remind us that our bodies are worthy, and we will bump hips while we try to set the table. As we gather here to remember, to laugh, to heal, we will touch shoulders and find our joy in each other's smiles. So pass me a plate, girl. Pass the peace.
Good evening. What a joyous week we have had celebrating our virtual homecoming at home. I hope you've had the opportunity to reconnect with your Spelman sisters through the myriad of festive activities. I missed seeing all of you on our beautiful campus, but I've enjoyed engaging with you and seeing you posting on social media about Spellcella, Vote Coming, Spellfest, and all of the other fantastic events. There is no way we can deny that 2020 has been quite a year. As many of our lives have been disrupted, we've grown in ways we may not have known we could. But isn't that just the way of Spelman women, remaining undaunted by the fight? Well, coming home, even virtually, to Spelman is such a wonderful way to relax, relate, and release. Spelman women come home during homecoming to remember and celebrate the bonds they hold dear amongst each other. I can't think of a better way to cap off our beautiful homecoming week than by listening to the sounds of our beloved college organist, Dr. Joyce Johnson. While listening to Dr. Johnson, being embraced by the vibrations of sound healing by Linnea Crawford, class of 2013, joined at the table of peace with Amina Brown, class of 2002, and graced with the beautiful scenes of Spelman, painted by Kafia Haile, class of 2002. Remember that your Spelman sisters will always be there for you, and that we look forward to seeing you here on campus soon. Please join me now in the singing of our beloved Spelman hymn.
My name is Reverend Dr. Nichelle Guidry, and I am honored to serve as the Dean of Sisters Chapel and the Director of the Wisdom Center here at Spelman College. We have come to the end of this homecoming Vespers worship service, and I am praying, I'm believing, and I know that we've all gotten that spiritual boost that we need to remain undaunted even as we celebrate homecoming at home. And so let us prepare to leave this place with a benediction. God, may God bless you. May God cover you. May God keep you. May God form a hedge of protection around each of you and each of the communities that you represent. May you know that you come in a line and a heritage of undaunted women, and may you carry their spirit, and may you move in that flow as you move from this place. God bless you, cover you, and keep you is our prayer. Amen.